Hey guys, this video is going to demonstrate how to install the WishIT app on your Google virtual machine. We're going to start out the process by opening up a command prompt with our virtual machine. Before we can actually install the app though, we have to install a couple of packages that it depends on, or the installation process depends on. We're going to use the sudo apt-get install command to install two packages, unzip and image magic. I'm going to add my -y so I don't have to confirm my choice. And there we go. We have those two packages installed. Unzip is for unzipping zip files, and image magic is for resizing images, which our web app will do later on. Next, we need to go and download our source code from GitHub. And you can find the link to that on Folio under links. I have a WishIT GitHub repository link. Clicking on it will take you here. We're going to locate the green button that says clone or download. We click it and we locate the download zip option. Don't click the download zip option, but rather right click and select copy link location. Now we're going to go back to our command prompt and we're going to download using the wget command. However, we don't want the source code to be in our home directory, which is where we currently are. We want our source code to be in our var www HTML folder. So we changed that directory, and here we can execute the wget command. And in PuTTY, you can right click to paste that link, and we're going to wget the master.zip from this repository. When we run that, we get a file downloaded, and if we take a look, there's the master.zip file. Now here's where the unzip package comes in. We're going to unzip the master.zip file, which gives us a bunch of files inside an IT5233 directory. And you can see it here in blue, IT5233 Spring 2020. Now, our next step is to move all the files out of that folder and up into the HTML folder. So if we were to list the contents of that folder, you would see all the files. We don't want them in the folder, we want them in the HTML folder. That's easily done by using the move command, by typing in move or mv space the folder name /*, which means all the files in that folder, followed by a space, and then a dot represents the current directory. So move folder /*, everything in the folder, to the current directory. Now, if we list the files in the directory, you can see we have everything here. Now we can remove that zip file that we downloaded, and we can remove the directory IT5233. And now we have the web application. Now before we go further, we have to create two folders that are used by the web application but are not included in that zip file. The first directory is called uploads. The second directory is called thumb. Once we have those two created, we can move on to the next step, which is to fix all our file permissions. So all these files we downloaded and extracted and created are all owned by me, R. Thaxton, or whatever username you logged in as. If we were to go up a level outside of the HTML folder and list the contents of the www directory, you can see that the HTML folder is actually owned by www-data. So what we need to do is we need to recursively change ownership of every file and folder inside the HTML folder and move it to the ownership of the www-data group. We do that by prefacing the change owner command with sudo. So sudo space CHOWN space -R means recursively change ownership on everything to www-data for the group. We're going to put a colon in next and leave the user blank. and then we're going to specify the HTML folder. So reviewing, change ownership recursively to www-data for every file and folder in HTML. We run the command, and then if we change directory back into HTML and we list the files, you see they're now all owned by www-data. Okay, now that we have the folder created, now that we have the files downloaded, the next thing we need to do is edit each of the files to include the right database credentials. So I'm going to use the sudo command because this file is not mine. So I use the sudo command to edit, either using vi or nano, your choice, each of the files. And inside the files, you can locate a line that's the PDO connection string. And in there, you'll find the root username and the root password. So here's where you would change password to whatever your password is for your root user in the database. And once you're done, exit out and do that to each of the files that contains a database connection string. I'll let you look through those and find it. The next thing we need to do is jump over to phpMyAdmin and use this WishIT.sql file to create the tables that we need for this operation. Okay, so here I am in my phpMyAdmin console, and what I'm going to do is create a new database, and in this case I'm going to call it WishIT, but I'm going to call mine WishIT2. Yours should actually be WishIT. I've already got my WishIT database created, and I just want to show you the steps. So I'm going to create a database called WishIT2, create, and now it shows me that it's in the new database that I've created, and it doesn't have any tables in it. So I'm going to jump back over to GitHub, and you'll see there's actually a wishit.sql file that we can open up. And in here, you can actually see all the commands that are run to create that table structure. So I'm just going to copy them one at a time and go back over here and go to my SQL tab and paste it in and hit run, and it creates the first one. And I can grab the next table, copy it, go back to my SQL tab, paste it, and run. And then don't forget to create each of these indexes here. So I could copy that one, go to the SQL tab, paste, and it will create the primary key for the wishes table, create it, and lastly, create the auto increment. And in this case, mine's set to 53. If we leave that off, it'll default back to 1 for the first one. So now if we look at the structure of the database, we see the users and the wishes table. Click on users, there's none there. Click on the wishes table, and there's nothing there. So now you have the database set up. The last thing I want to point out is in the add PHP, there are two extremely dangerous blocks of code that I have in here for you, and currently they are commented out. The first is lines 69 through 71. These lines allow the user to upload files to the web server. And for reasons we'll cover in class, this is a very, very bad idea to do it the way it's implemented. So these 3 lines are commented out. Yes, at some point I will ask you to uncomment them so we can exploit this problem and then learn how to fix it. But for now, leave it commented out. Second, there is a block of code on line 83, which executes a command, and it uses the image magic library to actually execute a command to create thumbnails. This is extremely dangerous also. So we're going to leave that commented out until the time comes for us to uncomment it and exploit that particular problem. So that concludes the installation instructions. If you have any questions, send me an email.